Today, I want to share with you a copywriting tip, a huge copywriting tip from a really strange place, from Lego bricks. Lego bricks, that's right. One of the biggest challenges in copywriting is getting attention. And I want to show you how to overcome that challenge, how to get attention for your copywriting and come up with powerful, big ideas for your copy with a lesson learned from these humble, unassuming little Lego bricks. If you want more copywriting tips and tips on marketing and growing your business and entrepreneurship and all that stuff, make sure you like this and subscribe so you get more content like this delivered to you. And with that, let's dive in. These are the proven direct response marketing, copywriting, and entrepreneurship success strategies you can use today to write your own ticket and create the life you want. I am Roy Furr, and this is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Now, here's today's breakthrough. All right, for today's sponsor, which is me as usual, I'm going to link you through to a free web class that I recorded recently on big idea copywriting. And basically what I discovered a couple of years back is that every multi-million-dollar marketing sales message winner was based on one of three different big idea types. And so I did a special training. I'm offering it for free. I'm making it available to you for free. All you have to do is check out the link in the description to my training on those three big idea types and how to use them to write more powerful, response pulling, sales generating, money magnet copy, marketing copy. So how can playing with Legos, these funny little Legos, make you a better copywriter? Well, this is tied to something that caught my attention when I was watching this movie. It was made by Netflix, but I think it's available elsewhere, or it was funded by Netflix. This movie is called Beyond the Brick, and it was a Lego brickumentary, a documentary about the Lego company. And I thought it was fascinating for lots of different reasons. But one of the things that it was talking about was just the incredible creativity that is available to you when building with Lego blocks. And if somebody's given a box of Lego blocks, aside from following directions, they're basically never going to build the same thing twice. And one of the really interesting things that they shared in that documentary in order to demonstrate the power of this is that if you take, and I chose these particular bricks. For those of you who are listening, these are 2x4 bricks, meaning there's 8 studs on the top of the brick. It's like the classic original Lego brick, right? It looks like a brick. If you take 2 of these bricks, there's actually 24 different unique combinations with combining 2 bricks together. And actually that assumes that they're the same color. So it doesn't even assume, in this case, the white one on top or the gray one on top or whatever. If you take 2 bricks, there are 24 unique combinations of the different ways that you can structure these attaching to each other. Okay. If you add a 3rd brick, suddenly you go from 24 different combinations to 1,060 different combinations. And again, all of these numbers grow if all the bricks are different colors, right? Or if you have different combinations of different colors you might choose. So with 3 bricks, we have 1,060 different combinations. And what if we double that? If we double that to 6 bricks, we have 6 of these really, really simple, 8 stud bricks of the most basic Lego pieces. There are actually 915 million different ways that you can reorganize these 6 bricks in order to come up with a unique building method. And I'm sure that was not something that was counted by somebody playing with Legos. I'm sure that was done by a mathematician. But the point is, with only a few pieces, you can create just this vast amount of possibilities. So what the heck does this have to do with copywriting? Well, I wrote about I wrote about something a few years back called the Lego method for powerful big ideas. I haven't created an episode about it, so I decided that I would bring it back around and talk about it today. This is something that top copywriters do all the time. James Webb Young had this book called Technique for Producing Ideas, and it's kind of similar to what he talked about in there. And none of them call it the Lego method, right? This is just me providing a unique nominalization, a unique name for it. The thing is that with this method, what I'm talking about is that great copywriters and people who generate great ideas in general, what they do is they do not work from a blank slate in order to get creative. They work from ideas, from combinations of ideas, from mashing up ideas. And so if we have 6 different Lego blocks, even if we were to go to the 2 different Lego blocks, right? There are 24 unique combinations of these 2 different Lego bricks, right? And so when you think about this, like, are there 2 ideas? What are the different combinations that you can do of 2 different ideas? Well, suddenly, if you take some idea that everybody's familiar with and you take some other idea that everybody's familiar with, but you present them in a new combination, well, suddenly you have a new idea for what you're going to write about, what you're going to talk about. Even in the context of generating this daily content for these daily episodes, if I'm talking about Lego bricks plus copywriting research, okay, suddenly I have this Lego method. I have this new idea, right? In a second, I'm going to share with you an even more powerful way to use this, but I did want to share this past example, and this, I will admit, is the same example that I used in the article, but it's a particularly good example of this. So I had a client that had a backup solar generator. And you take that and you say, okay, well, one brick, one example, one thing that we can think about is having backup power. Okay. So if you're writing copy for this backup solar generator, you could say, well, we have this great backup power source, right? And that's okay. That's great. Good enough on its own, but because it was a solar generator and it was more expensive and there were other features, it's not going to compete with like a backup gas generator. So you need something else. Well, in particular, this client had built this into an EMP resistant case, right? And so suddenly we have 2 bricks instead of 1. So, okay, there's this interesting like EMP resistant that can come from the sun. It can come from high altitude nuclear attacks. It can come from EMP generating like equipment. But there's this EMP resistant case around the backup solar generator. Okay, that suddenly is a lot more interesting. And then I saw this article. About this covert Russian satellite that was like, it was. First, they thought it was just a piece of space junk, but then it started moving in a way that looked much more intentional. And so suddenly they said, is this like a Russian satellite weapon, right? And so this covert Russian satellite, well, suddenly I have a 3rd brick and I have all these different combinations, right? And then I did a little bit of research and I said, based on where that satellite is orbiting the Earth at that altitude, is that the same altitude that you could use to generate a EMP if you were to detonate a small nuclear warhead at that altitude? And I actually found evidence of like US and Russian tests of these high altitude nuclear explosions used to generate EMPs, specifically testing this technology. And I found out that the satellite was orbiting in the sweet spot of the altitude that would be required for this. And so like, ooh, suddenly I have these 4 bricks that I'm playing with that are way more interesting than just, oh, this client has a backup power generator. It suddenly had this much more compelling story that I could tell, and that led to a big 7-figure payday, right? We sold a ton of those backup generators by combining the different ideas. So how do you make this like even more powerful? Well, let me give you a little secret. If you've studied copywriting much at all, you've probably seen this happening without really recognizing what's going on. So if you want to build on top of the Lego method, or you want to make it even more powerful, my recommendation is to do something that I've wanted to talk about for a little bit now, called piggybacking, right? So piggybacking, like, of course, a piggyback ride, kid hops on the parent's shoulders or whatever. Somebody hops on somebody else's shoulders and is riding up top, right? And they're raised higher because of it. Well, piggybacking in the context of this copywriting and this Lego method is actually taking something that your prospect is currently paying attention to, something top of mind for them. So what topic is in the news right now? What is everyone already paying attention to? If you bring it up with people outside of your market, are you able to have a conversation with them? What market trend or news story is kind of undeniably out there, right? Well, that stuff is out there and people are paying attention to it. And so they are predisposed. Like, for example, when a big news story is in the news, you're often like refreshing your news feed and you're clicking on different stories related to that single news story. You're clicking on different stories that provide a unique spin on that message. So what piggybacking is you take the known news story, the known trend, and you add your unique spin to it. You want to tie it to their problem, their desire, with something unique about you and tied to your product, your service, your offer, right? So you take this story of like this thing that's going on right now, and you tie it to your thing, right? And you bring in all the customer benefits and all that stuff that you need to do for copywriting. But by doing that, you're grabbing all the attention of this headline news item and you're redirecting it towards your product, your service, your offer. So for example, like with crypto on the way up, there were all these people who had trading systems beforehand, and crypto's price goes up and down like other assets that are traded, right? And so suddenly these people started doing all these crypto trading systems. And so they're taking the exact same thing that they were doing in the context of trading systems, and they were popping crypto on the front end of it so that they could be talking about these crypto trading systems, and they were leveraging all of the awareness that was already being put on crypto and directing it towards their products or services. And so like that was on the way up for crypto. But of course, as I'm recording this right now in June 2022, crypto's kind of had the bottom fall out from underneath it. And just recently this week, there was a discussion of crypto winter. And so, maybe there's a whole separate narrative that's going to come out of that, some kind of, negative whatever, right? So I don't know what that is, but there are other examples, right? So in the news right now, and I was kind of looking through Reddit's popular stories for the last month and the last year and some other things that I could think of. So like we have inflation and high gas prices right now. Those are big things in the news. Well, what kind of message is tied to that? Electric vehicle charging stations. Like there's a big news story going on right now around building out of an infrastructure for electric vehicles. In the marketing world, TikTok ads have been a big thing. Also, YouTube ads have been fairly big recently. There's the whole anti-work campaign and the great resignation, although probably that's fading a little bit more. There was COVID, of course. There's the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which again is not that hot of news, but on a broader trend level, there's the rise of the East and deglobalization going on, and I'm not remembering the word, but bringing supply chains back home so you're not dealing with like international shipments of supply chains and all of that. The key here is that when you look at all of these trends and all of these stories, you have to say what is or can be related back to the main message of my product, my service, my offer. How can I do that in a way that is not too big of a distraction and not too indirect for my prospects? And how can I do that in a way that conveys benefit from the beginning that's going to be in alignment with what my prospect wants to get out of buying my product and service? And so when you find the right story for that, you can piggyback on that story, and then you just play Legos. You just mix and match ideas until you have some unique combination that makes sense for whatever your particular product or service is. And don't forget, you do want to make these align with the 3 big idea types that I talk about in that big idea copywriting free training that I do have available. So check that link in the description. I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. And every day in every episode, I'm here trying to help you increase your marketing genius in one easy way to look like an even bigger marketing genius is to figure out how to use all those news stories that you see making headlines day after day, week after week, month after month, and turn those news stories into attention for your products and services, for your marketing messages, for your offers. And so if you do that, you're sure as heck going to look like a genius. I'll catch you again in the next episode. Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.